Hey y'all, I wanted to talk about To the Moon. I played it on PS5. This is a game that came out a few years ago. I actually had a copy of it on Steam. I played a little bit of it, but I never got super far. So it was nice to be able to get a second try at the game from this experience. I mean, playing it on the PS5, the game looks good, but it's one of those games that doesn't require a lot of tech to run. You know, it's kind of got that 16-bit style to it. It's like a top-down viewpoint. It looks like a JRPG from back in the day and even commentates on that a bit. But that's not what this game is at all. This game is a narrative-driven game that has a puzzle element, but it's only one kind of puzzle element, and you do it over and over again, and that's how you get through the game. So you're playing these two doctors that are gonna go inside this old guy's brain to try to give him the ability to experience his ultimate dream of going to the moon. And your job is to go in there and find out how to accomplish it and why he wants to do it. And so you start by like the current time, and then as you proceed through the game, you go backwards and backwards throughout this guy's life. You'll see a bar at the top that kind of shows different paths of his life, and you'll kind of see your progress as you go. This game isn't super long. It can be done in a few hours. And as you're going through, you're experiencing moments in the memory, and through that you collect these balls, and then these color balls or orbs you use to unlock another item that you use to go back into the memory. It's kind of like Inception, sort of, where it's like you find an item, the item takes you further down and further back in time. Now, I mentioned there was like one kind of puzzle. It's this sort of thing where you're matching tiles. You're basically given a sort of image, and your goal is to like match all the tiles up so the full image appears. At first I was a little confused on kind of how it worked, and I felt like sometimes I was just randomly guessing, which I did kind of feel that way. I felt like playing through the puzzle portion I was randomly guessing, but once you kind of figure it out, there's a solution that you can use that pretty much applies to every puzzle. Just because like the puzzle runs on like an L sort of shaped axis, and once you kind of figure out the right trick, I was able to kind of use that trick every single time, so I wasn't stressed about the puzzle elements so much because I would use the same strategy. Ended up working, so I was able to quickly move on to the next thing, because you're gonna be doing it a lot. I don't know if I necessarily love that part of the game. I almost wish that it didn't even have that gameplay element. I don't know if that would make experience necessarily better, but I felt like that didn't really add much to the game. I felt like at certain moments it would kind of hold it back a bit, and they just threw gameplay in there just to have it. But the gameplay itself of that kind of puzzle, I don't experience that often in games as like a main sort of thing, so it was kind of refreshing in that sense. As far as the narrative goes, by the end of the game, you're going on an emotional journey. This game is mostly about the two doctor characters, even though it's about this man and learning his life, and that story does make you have the feels. It is sad. It's kind of a sad story that may or may not have sort of a happy ending to it, but really at the end of the day, that story is kind of the catalyst for these two main doctor characters, and you learn about the personalities as you go, and it's the relationship between them two together. And then by the time you get to the end of the game, it's more about them reestablishing their relationship and how they feel about what they're doing with this guy and the choices they're making for him to accomplish their goal. How did they accomplish it? And so it was nice to have that different change of perspective, where such an important person's story is almost not the side story. I would say it was almost equal. It's like two stories being told at once between the doctors and then what's happening with this guy. And by the end of it, you know, it was a nice little story. Given the fact that the game is kind of short, I'd say it's worth checking out for the story alone. Again, the puzzle thing might get annoying at first, but once you figure out the puzzle element, you don't really worry about it. You go on to do the next thing. The gameplay's really super simple. Every once in a blue moon, they'll throw something a little bit different kind of out of the blue gameplay-wise, especially as you get further towards the end. There was a few moments there, and I was like, oh, that was a nice little change of pace. But overall, you're just going from point A to B, finding out the story, and then going to the next story beat. It's pretty straightforward. super simple, not too complicated. So if you're looking something to just kind of, you know, take in the moment and experience, and just worth checking out. If you're looking for something more of a challenge, something that has a little bit more gameplay into it, then this game might not be for you.